I'm Rex Rogosh, and let's queer up the USA View. TV judge blasts father suing gay son over conversion therapy, dismisses case in viral ruling. A television courtroom moment is drawing widespread attention after Judge Eboni K. Williams sharply rebuked a father who sued his gay son over conversion therapy costs. The case centers on Gregory Talbert of Memphis, who spent $6,000 to send his 18-year-old son, Michael Talbert, to conversion therapy after discovering him kissing a friend. Michael later fled the program, citing abusive conditions, and stayed with his best friend. Gregory then filed a lawsuit seeking repayment, claiming his son failed to fulfill a promise to complete the program. Michael described the conversion therapy experience saying, quote, "They said that I was cursed and said that I was going to hell and called all of us their monsters, that we were unworthy and that we needed the program to fix ourselves," end quote. After hearing his testimony, Williams offered a message of affirmation before dismissing the case entirely, calling the father's actions, quote, "unacceptable," end quote, "cruel." She ruled in favor of Michael, stating he deserved a home where he was safe and loved.
I really, Michael, I need to get close to you right now because I need you to understand. If you're willing, please give me your hands. Young man, you are not cursed. You are as loved and as worthy, Michael, as your father, your mother, and everyone else who gets the privilege to reside on this earth, young man. And I don't care what your daddy says. I don't care what this Matthew guy says. I don't care what some stupid conversion therapy says, which is nothing but a bunch of hoopla and a scam and a money grab for young, vulnerable men like yourself. I see you. You are valuable. And Michael, you are perfect. You are perfect in the eyes of God.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Williams, for those words that should not actually have to be said, unfortunately, but in these days and times, they need to be said more often from people like yourself. So first, I want to say thank you. Secondly, that father, unfortunately, got paid to be on this TV show, so he got money for being an asshole.
And I wanted to add that I just looked up the story. Thank you, LGBTQ Nation. The son actually offered to go because he thought that his father would not love him unless he does. This is an oppressive household from the jump. This is not a new thing. This is a systemic abuse. This is probably watching his father yelling gay slurs at TV all day long and things, or basically they go to a really oppressive church and hear their pastor talking about how he is going to hell, the poor kid. And now, just because the case is dismissed doesn't mean that he has a safe place to go to.
That's true.
His parents could still easily, and especially since he is aged out, he's no longer. I do not believe that he is a child. He is over 18.
He's 18, correct.
So therefore, Child Protective Services will not be able to take this case, and now he's basically on his own, having to try to figure out where he is. And I hope that he starts something like a social media account or tell your story. Yeah. Tell your story of your life experience. Tell your story of abuse. We are not here to judge. We're here to help. And by telling your stories and sharing it, you can reach more people who are currently under the circumstances. And I just want to add that apparently the family involved here, the father and son, are based out of Kansas, where there's no protection from conversion therapy. And now, thanks to the Supreme Court, a lot of the conversion therapy ban are in flux.
Well, yes. One shouldn't have to share their story if they're not comfortable to, especially if it's to just get themselves financially able to not be homeless. Like, no one should have to be homeless, and that's an important point. But, you're also dealing with, the U.S. Supreme Court, 8 of them, 8-1. So, remember, some of those so-called liberals aren't that liberal. But on this, I guess my first reaction is, what's the judge's name? Judge Williams?
Judge Williams.
Judge Williams. I just see this, and I'm like, you go, girl. You're putting up with some white nonsense today. My God, what sort of man tries to put a child in conversion therapy in 2026? It is child abuse. Let's just all be very clear. I don't care what the Supreme Court says. It's child abuse to tell a kid you think they're possessed by a demon for Pete's sake. Like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane to say such things. And they should be ashamed of themselves. And good for her for being so nice to him and trying to help him with all that stuff. But, like, my God, white nonsense is the only reaction I have with that father.
This kind of homophobia transcends race, so I'm not going to call it a race. There are plenty of children, there are plenty of youth of color, of all types of races, who got kicked out of their
Yeah,
home.
but some upper middle class white man getting upset that his son should pay for the conversion therapy.
Oh, that's just
a very
petty.
fishy white
No, that's
nonsense.
just petty. Most parents would just write it off as a loss. This one just basically decided to take him to court. Of course, we don't know how he get there because we have no idea what a casting process is. So I often see these reality show based on judgment with a grain of salt. By the way, Judge Williams, although very kind, is not actually judge. She is just like she's an attorney, but she is cast to be the judge. And this is apparently framed as a private arbitration. When you enter this production, because it's a commercial production, you're basically getting paid to show up with your case and have an arbitrator, in this case Judge Williams, to basically say that which side is right and which side is wrong.
If you could pivot into like a pitch about your arbitration work, that'd be hilarious.
I do arbitration work. I mean, I'm not photogenic enough to be a judge, but hey, if you,
I think you're better than the Supreme Court at this point, Bobby, don't you guys?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, he is probably going to be, out of his house. Fortunately, it sounds like he does have at least one friend that he's been able to stay with, so he does have some sort of network. There are organizations out there, to help. I know that in other cities that I've lived in, we had LGBTQ youth centers. We helped place people who became homeless. There are special housing. I don't know the circumstances in every state and every city, but I hope that he does find the help that he's going to need to survive. And I am sorry that he's had to go through that. Nobody should ever have to go through that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever have to feel unloved or unworthy, gay or straight. Honestly, especially as a child. And we are saying that he's 18, that he's legal age, but he's still a child.
But Rex, one thing that you bring up, there are some services out there, and that's wonderful. But the main reason why, if an 18-year-old gets kicked out by their parents for being queer, and they could become homeless, it is because we are the nation do not provide basic supports for people. When you hear people say they're socially liberal and fiscally conservative, and someone like me says that's effed up, it's because a kid in this situation, what's he going to do? The government's not going to help them. So what happened? Hopefully a nonprofit will help them. Nonprofits, they don't have that much money right now.
I mean, the statistics show that I think it's 55% of the homeless population is LGBT youth.
Really.
It is
queer youth make up a huge part of the
largest number. I could be wrong. Fact check me, but the last time I saw that, they are the largest. So,
I remember, if Trevor Project is correct, I believe that is true.
It was 55%. So that my heart goes out to him. I hope that he does well, and what you said, he doesn't have to share a story, but I hope that he does, because he's not the only one out there that unfortunately is dealing with this, and safety in numbers.
Yes.
So there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.